Hey, everybody. I am on my mobile setup. So this is why I look a little bit pixelated. So sorry for that. Waiting for Dr. Emily to get in the chat. She wanted to talk about certain things that she has a better understanding of. So thank you for being here, everybody. Let me do the introductions and wait till she's there. So thank you, Lynn Smith, for being here. Beaker, Mick, Charlotte, Gemini, Prince Songs, Natural Ginger. Hi there, Yoki. Hello. Zayla, hello. Henrietta Lure. Hi there. Christina Bartlett. Hello. And Gohan's girl, Erica Purple Drank Yoshi. Hi there. I'm reeling the can. Hello. Purple Glitter. Hi there. Nancy Concepcion. Liz, hello. Openly Avoidant. Hi there. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So let me in the meantime look over these community posts here from Foodie Beauty because there is has been a lot. So let me go over them and we shall share my screen. Okay, here we go. I'm looking down because my mobile laptop is with not my mobile laptop. I mean my mobile screen is here because I usually don't do this setup unless I am mobile. So please bear with me 1 second while I get this all set up and everything. Let me share my screen. We shall go over these community posts. I thought Dr. Emily would be ready by now because she wanted to do the stream. So let's go over it. Let me see where my mouse is. Give me a second, folks. It's kind of hard. All right, so previously what she's been doing is posting, trying to garner some sympathy from a lot of people because of her current situation. So hi there, Beaker, Charlotte, Gemini. Okay, so what do we have here? So 2 days ago she did this. Like, yikes, can you imagine posting this up? And this was at the trap house with the caption, laughing my effing ass off. Oh my effing god, I'm white trash. Like, why would you say that about yourself? Then we have this from from a day ago, talking about her PayPal. Let's go up a little bit more. It says, oh my god, so cool, I can message you guys directly on PayPal. So if you don't want a public shout out, just send me a message on there. Thanks to those who sent stuff. I'll be coffee bees and soon. Love you guys. XO. I'll be by myself. Right. And she wasn't. Then 7 hours ago, oh my god, you people seriously need to shut the F up about Peetz and my cats or immediate ban for good. Bye. And hmm, hmm, that kind of behavior isn't really smart. And she seems to have switched it up ever since posting that. Then 7 hours ago again, so I'm disabling comments. They are all shit anyways. So let me get this straight. I'm bullied over and over and called piece of shit, etc. for not spending the night with Peetz, for not forcing him to go to inpatient care, which I cannot do, morons, for not spending 24/7 with my cats and deciding to forgive a lot of shit in my relationship and move on from it. Hi there, Callie Rose. Hi there, Mary. Cesaro Beach Ball. Welcome, Nick Star. No one is forcing you to endure my horrible content. which, by the way, is so horrible, but is stolen every day for everyone to use by other channels. Right. Well, what a change of heart from all of that boisterousness. Now she's doing exactly what people wanted, for her to stay with the cats with her inside out sweater that probably has some food stains on it, but she decided just not clean the sweater. She's home, and instead of dressing in something else, she still has the inside out sweater on. Hey, welcome back, Purple Drank Yoshi. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Gen T in the chat. Welcome, 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 Gen T. How are you doing? Thanks for being here as well. Reel in the can. Speedy Janet MB. And everybody else, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. RON, hello. Uptown, hello. How are you doing? One second, folks. Seems she's having technical problems. Next star, hi there. Colgate Smile, hello. Dr. Emily's in the green room. I think she's using the wrong link. I'll have to resend the link to her. In the meantime, please bear with me with this. I'm gonna do the invite right now. How's everybody doing? Hey, Jenny Nobody. Hey, Kiki. HOYT, welcome to the chat. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you being here. And thanks for letting me do that Sagittarius Shawty live with the chat available. That was pretty good. Shout outs to HOYT. Check out their channel if you'd like to watch some content similar to mine. Keto Girl, hi there. Belle, Lee above. Long time no see. Where have you been? Openly avoiding. Hi there. Okay, Dr. Emily is here, so let me add her to the stream and we will get ready. All right, Dr. Emily, you're live.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Is it echoing? Because I can't hear you on my end.
No, you're fine.
Okay, all right. Oh, there we go. I've got my
Hey,
headphones
Christina
turned
J,
on.
Caroline Vasquez, Catherine C. Hey, everybody. Okay, so what did you want to talk about, Dr. Emily?
Well, I just wanted to talk about loosely about what happened, but I can't technically talk about Peetz or Chantal directly because I don't have a patient-doctor relationship with them. And there's this thing called the Goldwater rule, which is an ethical rule that psychiatrists and psychologists can't evaluate patients that they haven't or can't diagnose patients that they haven't seen. And even if they do, the breach of privacy is prohibited. So
Okay, so you, in essence, you can't diagnose somebody over the internet, is what you're trying to tell me.
Right. And I think that's kind of been an issue in the entire Gorlverse in the Shantopolis. Please excuse I have expressive aphasia. But it's been kind of a problem in the entire Girlverse because people have been doing on armchair diagnosis and things like that. So I just wanted to clear some things up.
Okay, I see. Dr. Emily Purple Drunk Yoshi is asking a question. Just curious, does Dr. Grande violate this rule? I know he says he's not diagnosing anyone, just speculating on a situation like it.
Dr. Grande, I don't, I'm not following him as well, uh, but I, I don't want to call someone out that I don't follow, but in general, um, it's not, it's, I can only say someone like this would be, if I had a patient like this, it would be, um, I would look for these things, or, I can't say they're, um, it's kind of what happened with Trump and his people speculating about his mental state. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if what the deal is with Dr. Grande. I don't. I can't diagnose anyone.
Okay, no problem. All right. So,
I can tell you the criteria for diagnosis, but I
I
can't.
see. One thing I wanted to ask you, was it uh fairly inappropriate for Foodie Beauty to be leaving Pete's alone on the night where he made that video? Was that like a really bad thing to do? Was he very vulnerable in that state?
I believe that if I had a patient that um, had no support system, and if they filmed a YouTube film like that, I mean, it would. If I would think that a friend would need to stay there with him.
Okay, I see.
So yes, if you can, if you can extrapolate that on that, if you want, but
Okay, I
I
would
think that
say,
if
yeah.
I had a patient that had filmed something like that, and I mean, discussing his video, um, the things that he said in that 10-minute video were very alarming to me. And if I heard that, say in an emergency room, um, I would have committed him,
I see. So
involuntary commission.
he was using certain keywords and phrases that made it seem as if he was about to do something.
Right. I mean, it would be something alarming that should have been, uh, if you need to. It, I'm glad that someone called the wellness check, um, but
Yep, understandable. Yep.
yeah, I mean, like when you see something like that, if you have anyone in your life that cares about you, um, they should be with you and make sure that you're safe.
Very, very true. As a good friend would. Jenny,
Mm-hmm.
nobody has a question. Could someone be charged with negligence if their friend committed the side with the S but didn't help? Have you ever had a case of that?
No, generally, no.
So they cannot be charged.
No, not in the
Okay,
US, not in
I
the
see.
States.
Jenny, nobody. Is that in reference where people get charged for, I guess, red rumming their friend, even though they're not the ones who do it? Because I've seen situations like that on the news where men and women have been charged with red rum. Red rum is the murder backwards, but they weren't the one to pull the trigger or use the knife or use whatever means that that person passed away by. Like, let's say I had a buddy, we decided to rob a bank, there was a shootout, my friend got shot by the police. In certain states, I can actually be charged with my friend's murder because in the process of doing a crime, that person died, so therefore I'm charged with the death of that person, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of states like that, so people, please be aware.
Right. It's I think when it comes to things like taking your own life, um, it's, you can, it's kind of a delicate subject because um, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Um, when if you're a friend and you decide not to go, or you're there too late, that's not something that should be, you know, prosecuted, because you may have known, but you don't get there in time. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that, it's 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 kind of, it's not necessarily some, the friend's fault.
Yeah, I see. I
I
understand. Well, hi
mean,
there, Farah.
yeah, the, I've never had a case like that. But the thing is that it's online, and he had said some keywords, and it should be, excuse me, if you hear in the background my dog snoring, um, it would be the thing. So with that evidence online, they would have enough uh, information to commit him. And the police, at least in the US, and I practice in the Midwest, um, it's the police can come in and, you know, have that evidence, and they don't have to. Um, the 5150 isn't filled out by the police. All that has to be is the imminent self harm.
Mm-hmm.
So the 5150 is filled out by the psychiatrist who's evaluating them.
Mm-hmm.
And say there was a therapist or psychologist that was that that a person expressed these kind of uh, feelings to, if they would be the one to fill out what's called an affidavit, that 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 these things um, were said in the office, um, and then you get it notarized. And when the psychiatrist uh, does the interview and evaluation, then they have to fill out the 5150 and get it notarized, because it's against the law to commit someone against their will if you don't have all those things that had been recorded. And the thing is that, especially since the it's online and it's available to the public, it's easy to see, and that would be able to be enough to, at least in the states, um, to commit someone, uh, because they're at risk for harming themselves.
Okay, I see. Thanks for everybody just joining. Let me pause you there for a second, Dr. Emily, because it seems some people aren't aware of what I was talking about earlier with the specific law when it comes to people getting charged for certain crimes that they actually did not commit. So, oh, I'm having okay. Here we go. So here is from 2015, charged with red rum without killing anybody. So here it says, I'm gonna enlarge this. Just give me one moment. This was a case in 2012. Four teenagers and their 21-year-old friend decided to burgle a house in their hometown of Elkhart County, Indiana. No one in the group had any weapons, and they picked a house they thought was unoccupied. The owner was actually asleep upstairs and armed. When the five kicked down the door, Rodney Scott came downstairs and fired his gun, killing 21-year-old Denzel Johnson and hitting another in the leg. The surviving members of the group, who came to be known as the Elkhart Four, were soon facing up to 55 years in prison for a murder they didn't plan, intend, or commit. The sentences were the result of a complicated and controversial statute called felony murder. Most states have some version of a felony murder. This is what I'm talking about. Law in their
See, this
criminal
gets
code.
into forensic psychiatry, which is a
Yeah,
whole different. You know, I had taken, I've have some experience in forensic psychiatry, but um, it it gets to the point where uh, the intent is an issue, um,
yeah.
and you know it. I don't. I don't know about that case, and I'm not an expert on forensic psychiatry by
No
any
problem.
means.
The
So,
reason why I'm actually bringing this up is to tell people that you can be charged for the red rummy even though you weren't the trigger man or you didn't use the weapon, because if you're the in the process of doing a crime and, like, let's say your friend, your family member, whoever is killed, you can be charged for that murder. A lot of
and
states have this law.
I see that the Indiana Supreme Court overturned the murder convictions.
Yep,
So it's, you know, there's appeals and things like that that can
exactly.
happen. So, you know, that can happen too. Um, but as far as Chantal not being as I mean, you know, far as a friend being responsible for something like someone taking their own life, it's a little muddy there because it's not the same thing in any means. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
it's the person themselves deciding to end their life or making decisions, you know, to do that. And you know, even if the person, the friend is is staying with them, and then they go and they're not there when, or they go to the bathroom or something, and then they come back and the person had taken their own life. I mean, I don't think um, that's she wouldn't, or they wouldn't be held liable for that.
So you think there's no liability because he is not her ward? Because what if he was her ward, as in, if people don't know what that means, as in she has legal control and authority over him, would that be different then?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Uh, would it be different if, let's say, Peetz was her ward, as in she had legal authority over him and was controlling his life and his finances and every aspect of his life? It's kind of like how, uh, similar to how the whole Britney versus Spears documentary type of thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that taking your own life not is a special thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's if you have any inkling or any proof at all of someone having the thoughts, even, you can legally, in the Midwest, you can legally commit someone, and then to for their safety.
I see. On Bigby has a question for you, Dr. Emily. Bigby says Chantal demonstrated last night that she doesn't really care. Dr. Emily, do you think Peace is able to see this? What did you see in that video when they were going through that row with all the Christmas lights and decorations? What do you think he was feeling? Do you have?
um well, I mean, they were doing something that he didn't like to do, but she, you know I mean, I would think that a good friend would want to, do whatever the person and uh the person that's at risk would want to do,
Mm-hmm.
help them, spend time with them, do things that make them happy, or just sit there with him, anything. But uh, she didn't do that. She made content.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah,
Could I stop you 1 second here? We're gonna look
sure.
at this Michelle Carter thing because a lot of people are kind of talking about it. So this was a very special case because you can be charged in certain circumstances, like Michelle Carter, who went to jail for encouraging her boyfriend to off himself, is denied parole. So she literally encouraged, at the time, who was her boyfriend. And yeah, in that circumstance, of course, somebody, is responsible and
Right.
liable. like Michelle Carter did. So this was a specific case. We also had a case in Canada just like this. This woman who kept on berating her boyfriend every day, like, why don't you off yourself? You're stupid, you're useless, you're a loser, every single day. And he finally did it and she got charged. So there
Correct.
are specific circumstances where you can get charged.
Yes. Um, I need to change devices because my phone's about ready to die. If you can hold on for a
Okay,
second.
we'll hold for 1 or 2 minutes. I'll remove you from the screen and then I'll
Okay.
maybe try and answer some questions. You can come back when you
Okay.
can, maybe plug it in or something. I don't know. All right, so Dr. Emily is going to be back in a second. Dr. Emily, just message me when you are available, folks. Yeah, exactly, Echo Aris. Essentially, pressuring somebody, a vulnerable person. That is extremely true. I'm just giving Dr. Emily a message again because we've never actually had one of these. But, folks, if you like this type of content where Dr. Emily comes up and kind of speaks to the facts, then we can do this more often. I'm also thinking of doing this with the VIBs on my second channel, just so that people, we're all on the same page, because there's a lot of inconsistencies in the Chantel verse. There's a lot of people saying a lot of things that may or may not be true. But the thing is, we need to be on the same page. Dr. Emily is a psychiatrist, so I think she would. You're back, Dr. Emily.
Yes.
Would be the one to be able to kind of solidify all this information. Okay, go ahead,
Yes.
Dr. Emily.
Um, I'm sorry. I lost track of where we were with the
Oh,
discussion.
we were talking about Michelle Carter, who encouraged her boyfriend to off herself, and we are continuing from that. So we can maybe take some questions if anybody has a question.
Yeah, and going back to her, I mean, that's I would think that was obvious. That she was liable for his death because she had been telling him over and over, and you know, telling him directly to do it.
Oops, I think I did a Freudian slip. Rain caught me. I may have said VIBs. I meant fire squad members. I'm sorry, Rain, for calling you a VIB. Oh boy. All right, go ahead, Dr. Emily.
So what I said is that that the girl that you were talking about before, uh, she's obviously being, antagonizing her boyfriend, and there's a lot of evidence and text evidence, and that's what when it comes to a trial, that's what people look at. And if it would come to a trial with Chantal, which I don't think it would, I mean, you know, the video that was put up by that was put up last night would come into, that would be in the evidence, but I don't think it would be anything. I
I
just don't
see.
think there could be a conviction as far as that is concerned because
Exactly.
there wasn't any antagonization.
Natural Junior asks me, am I on StreamYards? Yes, I am on StreamYards. I can also use, I guess, Streamlabs by way of OBS. I am familiar with OBS, but I've never used Streamlabs or used OBS Live, so I might do that with one of the other channels I have, because I do have other channels that I do other things on. I don't know why people keep saying this is all I do. This is not all I do. I have other channels that I keep separate because I don't want the shared audience, because there is an issue when it comes to the shared audience, because a lot of people will and navigate away from the other channels. So I'd rather build them separately. No problem, Natural Ginger, no problem. Okay. The absolute bare minimum, Chantel. Do you think Chantel could have EDD? Well, we can't really diagnose, but we can maybe point to certain things that might make it seem as if that is or isn't probable. Can you maybe speak on that?
As far as I'm not familiar with that abbreviation because there's a lot of different abbreviations in psychiatry that mean different things.
I know. I was like,
As far
yeah, well,
as,
could you explain? Because the only EDD I know is this one, the erectile dysfunction disorder. So I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
so please explain the EDD thing. Thank you very much. I'd really, yeah. Um, let's move on. As somebody said, hard to
yeah,
diagnose online, and I kind of think it's inappropriate. Like I said before, I don't diagnose people online or try to. I'll say it seems like it's this or it seems like it's that, but I won't
right.
say, hey, this person is this way or this person's that way.
Yeah, and it's completely, I mean, for anyone, I'll just say that it's not ethical, and it's the people that do have these disorders. It's insulting to them that you're that people, are throwing these terms out. Uh, you know, I've just on Twitter, I've seen a lot of people being offended by that actually have worked through these personality disorders. That,
Okay.
um, yeah, I mean, it just does more harm than good. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's,
That
I
is
mean,
very true.
for me, it's completely unethical.
And especially in the sphere that we have a lot of people saying a lot of things and then it's believed with no real backing. That's why I'm very careful in what I say about a lot of things unless there is copious amounts of evidence prevented to make it seem that way.
Correct, and it's between you have to there has to be some sort of doctor patient um, uh, relationship to have any sort of diagnosis happen, and you have to be evaluated. And that's the thing, like, even being on the spectrum, I know that we see a lot of things, and same thing with personality disorders, we see a lot of things, and they they seem to fit the diagnosis, but it's I mean, without actually interviewing them and having that relationship and the trust and the privacy issues, that it's something that's uh, not uh, recommended, and it's definitely not ethical.
I see. They came back. The absolute bare minimum, Chantal says empathy. I think they're saying deficit disorder. So empathy deficit disorder last night just seemed off the charts. So if people don't know what that is, maybe you could explain, Dr. Emily, or I could explain what that is.
I don't believe that's in the DSM, but uh, I don't. I've never run across it.
Okay, I see.
Um, it may
So
be something that is, in the disorders to look more into. There's a whole section in the back of the DSM that says that we need to spend. These are things that are going to be probably in the revision of
I
the
see.
DSM-5.
Okay. If anybody wants to know what empathy deficit disorder is, it's lacking the ability to feel, understand, and resonate with another's feelings. This results in difficulty forming and maintaining relationships with both the individual who lacks empathy and potential friends and loved ones. So that is EDD.
Yes, and it's not in the cluster of personality disorders, so it's uh, I would I would uh, be hesitant to talk about that since it's not in the straight DSM.
Okay, I see. Gotcha.
I
Understandable.
mean, yeah, like it could be in the section to look further into, and it may be put into the next edition of the DSM, because the last one came out in 2013. So um,
Exactly. So we're gonna go to DSM-5 TR, you believe?
yes, but
Okay,
it's going to be, it'll probably be a couple of years, because that's how.
it works.
Yeah, I
Overall,
mean, things
yeah.
are You can recognize symptoms and come up with things, but it's not going to be in the it's not going to be accepted until
I see.
yeah.
Someone asks, Carolyn Adams asks, do you think James is in imminent danger? Does it seem that way to you just looking from the outside in?
um I would say based on last night's video that someone like that, if I, that that was, to me, it seemed like a goodbye video.
Okay, I see.
But
That's scary.
yes, he I mean, he's an I would consider him in imminent danger. Um, the thing is that um, with depression, especially, but um, overall suicidal ideation um, in general, and I'm sorry, I should probably say something else um, in a code, I guess. When someone has thoughts of harming themselves or taking their own life, they'll deny it. They will always deny it, at least if it's that bad. And they may seem completely okay. And the thing is that, like he said, or um, you know, the thing I noticed is that he had been in bed for 2 days or 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
and he finally got up and took a shower, and then he got online.
Yeah.
And that is a huge warning sign, because people with that are considering taking their own lives, they will, be exhausted from, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They
I've
can
heard something like that.
they put on a mask, and you can't they will shut down for and hide their what's really going on inside. But for a second, they get the energy to, you know, to take care of themselves a little bit, and then the energy to actually go through with it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that
So
some people, once they get a lot of energy, that's when they actually finalize their plan of offing themselves. I heard that a lot. And I heard like
yes,
back in the day they were so like people were taking a specific drug that gave them energy or perked them up or kind of changed their mood, but it changed their mood just enough that they had enough willpower to actually finalize their plan of offing themselves. MLV has a question. Can people have a lot of traits of narcissism without having the personality disorder?
um, it yes and no. I think that, yeah, in diagnosis, we always have to put uh, you know borderline traits or narcissistic traits, or any of the cluster, any of the personality disorders. You have to put traits, because just seeing them once or twice, or if you only see them a few times, that you can't really evaluate it's not that it's not that clear
Exactly.
cut. At least having been seen for a year at least before you can make that kind of diagnosis. And in my case, I don't see patients over and over again because I work inpatient. But um, but in the clinic setting, you can make uh, you can see the features. They can meet all of the diagnostic criteria, but you don't want to label them with that. You always kind of have to, especially with narcissists, you have to kind of, they won't think anything. Even if you tell them, they won't do anything you want. So it's kind of a moot point, but at the same time, you don't want that. It's going to be on their record forever.
Yeah,
And
that's another
so,
thing. The
and
record.
that's why you have to be so careful when you are, as a psychiatrist or as a therapist or as a doctor in general.
Hmm.
If you're doing diagnosis at all, you have to be very careful with what you are putting down in their record for diagnosis.
Exactly, people. Like, if you're gonna become, if you have certain positions in life, such as a police officer, for example, they do check those records. And if in Canada, if you've been Form 1, which is the equivalent of a 5150 in America, they look at that, and the likelihood of you being a police officer is practically zero if you've been Formed 1 before.
Correct. And it's the same in the United States as far as physicians go. Like if
Yes.
you've ever been, um, been had to be hospitalized, even if you go in voluntarily, they will not allow you to get licensed.
Yeah. So please be careful, because a nurse had said to somebody that I knew, like, please be careful of how you wanna you don't want to go down certain roads of trying to seek a diagnosis, because there's a lot of people that do this to try and get disability when they know
Right.
they're not they don't have a certain disorder, but they try and push doctors to make it seem as if they have the disorder to get the disability. But when it doesn't work out, it's still on your record, and it will
Right.
affect your future prospects. So please
Yes.
be
And
aware
the
of
thing
that.
is that the disability process in the US is 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 months at the least. At least. More a lot of people wait a year or two to get the process done, and it may not go through. So you have to be honest. It'll speed up the process if it's
Exactly.
going to be denied. And then you can appeal, but you just have to be honest. Um, and I forgot. Oh, I was going to mention that the thing about antidepressants and increase in thoughts of harming yourselves, that was seen mostly in adolescents and teens. And there was no real data that suggested that it increased um, the risk of harming yourself as um, as a young adult or anything above that. But
Understandable.
they
Cheryl.
have to put a black box warning
Exactly.
on these things because it was. But as far as antidepressants are concerned, um, your
I
body
tutor
there
times.
there's this phenomenon called Prozac poop out, which is a kind of a funny word, but it's a serious thing. Um, the longer you're on an antidepressant, the your body adapts to it, and there are people, especially with Prozac, that will start feeling worse, even though they're correctly dosed, or they will their body adjusts to it somehow,
Yeah.
and so um, you know it's sometimes the same with other antidepressants, but I've seen it most with Prozac. And Prozac was the first SSRI to come out. Um, but yeah.
Understandable. We had Cheryl depart from the chat. I guess I'll see that person another time, since they are indeed a Fire Squad member. Do we have any more questions here? I guess you've also been taking a look at the chat, Dr. Emily.
I'm trying to follow it, but I'm also trying to think at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
what was
I'm used to it.
yeah, what was Cheryl's comment that she
It
wanted
wasn't a
answered?
comment. She just thought the chat was being political. I don't. There's no politics here.
Oh,
What's
maybe
what?
because I mentioned Trump. I don't know, but just with the
Oh,
Goldwater rule is that's it came up a lot last during the past 4 years.
I
It
see.
just and that was why some psychiatrists broke that rule, which
Mm-hmm.
I think it was not. It's obviously not ethical,
Yep, exactly.
and
Oceana, welcome.
that's why it's in place.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I guess we'll wrap up in a few minutes. If there's any other questions or anything else you'd like to say, Dr. Emily, maybe get
Um,
our thoughts in.
yeah, I mean, if any of the mods can oh, it looks like Brit Jam has a question for me.
Okay. Well, what was the question from Brit Jam?
I don't know. Brit, can you
Oh, here it
retype it in?
is.
Oh, okay.
I'll say it. What percentage of mental health care providers have personality disorders? I know several people who are in the field, and I think they shouldn't be allowed to see patients. Well, I don't know if Dr. Mill can answer that questions. And is there really a difference from the healthcare field versus the general populace? Wouldn't it be as close to the general populace proportion as it is with mental health care providers?
Well, I don't know those statistics
Yeah,
honestly, because it's it's not something that they're. I mean, it may be going into research. I just I'm having trouble keeping up with everything.
yeah.
I am on leave because of my health issues. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I I'm trying to keep up with the journals and things like that,
I
but
see.
I haven't actually heard um, anything like that.
Hi,
But I
Henrietta Lore. Hi there. How are you doing?
um,
We got Henrietta in the chat.
yes, and I like that she said that. There's so much stigma about mental illness, and I'm not talking about mental health because that's something that people there's a difference between mental health and mental illness. Mental health is what you strive for. Mental illness is a condition, it's a brain condition, it's a brain issue.
Yeah. Could I also add that anybody can get that. It depends on the situation and circumstances. Like I myself could easily find myself in a situation for a prolonged period of time and I could get sick. I could, have a mental disorder.
Right.
Yeah,
And
so as Henrietta said, just stop the stigma. Anybody can get it.
right. And the thing is, I compare it to, um, say that you are drowning and there's someone to help you and they stick out an arm. If they help you, you can live. But if the person doesn't stick out their arm to help you, you're going to drown. Or, like, it's the same thing as having a broken leg. Do you just walk on it? Or when someone tells you to, do you just walk on it when someone tells you to walk it off? Or do you go get it fixed by in a cast and things like
Hmm.
at an orthopedic doctor? It's not it's the exact same thing um, as quote uh, physical disorder or sickness.
Exactly.
It's no different than that.
Exactly.
It's mental illness is actually a brain disorder. That there are um, more and more images coming out, imaging and studies that are showing that there are physical changes in the brain when you have someone that has like depression or anxiety or schizophrenia or anything on that or bipolar disorder, anything on that spectrum is
Hmm.
there are huge changes in the brain. But the thing is, so there's this study going on right now. It's called a connectome study, and it's almost finished. But basically they're mapping out all of the connections in the brain, and they are finding that a lot of the brain areas are linked to certain disorders that they light up when you have this disorder. So I I want to say that you know just that telling someone to get out and do something, that's great, but it's not going to you know cure their depression. They need to be evaluated at least.
I see. Understandable. Purple
But
Drunk Joshi had a question. But go ahead, finish up.
Um, so I was going to say, as far as depression goes, antidepressants are not the only thing that you need. You can be on an antidepressant, and it may work. 50% of people have success with remission, saying like the depression is stable, you're feeling good, you are not feeling the symptoms of depression anymore, but you still have it, right? Because it's not like it's like heart disease where you get everything, or it's like diabetes. Okay, you still have diabetes even though you are stable with your exercise and all, taking care of yourself, unlike how someone just claims to have cured their diabetes. But 50% of the time with antidepressants, it'll put people into remission, which means you don't have any symptoms of depression anymore. You still have the changes in your brain, though.
Okay.
But when you add therapy onto a antidepressant, 80% of there's an 80% or more remission rate. So that's why it's so important to do both.
Okay. Understandable.
And I
Purple
just
dr-
wanted to say that to everybody because
yeah.
I know there are a lot of people here that, all I and myself, I I have depression, and I'm, you know, it's not I had it before my brain cancer. It's been something that's genetic. And, I'm not afraid to admit that. So let's just end the stigma. Uh, you know, let's talk about it.
Exactly. Purple Drunk Joshi had a question. Do you think someone like Peetz would need to get out of their toxic living situation in order to improve?
Um, I I definitely think that that someone like him would need a more uh, a more supportive living arrangement, which and a support network at least. The risk for harming oneself is, there's a lot of different factors, and the most important is the social net. You have to be around people that care about you, that'll check in on you, that'll be, you know, that are there for you. So
Exactly.
obviously we saw that that wasn't the case.
Yes, like I've said before, usually when you call a lot of these crisis hotlines, one of the first things they ask you is there anybody you could talk to, or is there anybody that could be with you in your moment of need? Because support is essential for everybody, really. We are still animals, we're still social creatures, and we're built to be social.
Yes, and isolation is so and that's the thing. It's like with this pandemic, people are isolated and depression rates skyrocketed.
Yeah,
And you know we are not meant to be isolated. That's why in prisons um, the separation, I can't remember what it's called, but the isolation is like the worst punishment because it it deprives people of that interaction.
exactly. Very, very, very true. Yeah, and like they said, we are all going through something. Like in this society, it's very stressful. I'm going through my own issues that I don't talk about, but everybody is going through an issue. So we need to have an understanding that a lot of people are these days are stressed. A lot of people are anxious. A lot of people have a lot of concerns that that need to be addressed. That's why there's such a focus on mental health these days, because people still don't believe in such a thing as mental health. They feel like just say suck it up, tough it out will work, but it just doesn't work.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, yeah, be a man. you
Yeah,
know
and that's the
hmm
thing is that
Put on your big boy shorts.
yeah, exactly. And about what Mick said, You know, when people are like, for example, when people tell me I'm, you know, that that I'm strong or whatever as far as my cancer goes, I'm not strong. Everyone has their own battles that they're fighting. Some may be more visible than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that they're not fighting for themselves. And that's the thing that I have noticed a lot with people that have invisible disorders, that,
Yeah,
that they're not treated the same as someone that has something visible.
exactly.
So I would say, everyone has their own fight that they're going through, their own battles. But,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone talks about it.
Exactly. So very, very true. All right, folks, we're about to wrap this up. We might do another part two of this if, a lot of people like what was being said and want to contribute more to this topic. I'd like to thank Dr. Emily for, your thoughts, for us picking your brain on, the issues happening right now within the Chantal verse and with Pete's. As Uptown, you're saying we are only humans and humans go through a lot of issues. People need to be more vocal about their struggles without feeling like they're going to be judged. Exactly. So thank you so much,
Yes.
Dr.
And
Emily. I
I
really
just
appreciate
want
you.
to say, if you guys need anything, my DMs are always open. I usually just use Twitter, and my handle is Dr. Emily 27. So you can contact me on Twitter. I can only, like it was here. I can only tell you what what uh, what I did kind of hear, but I can just be a shoulder or an ear to talk to, or just, to get your feelings out.
Sounds good. Jenny, nobody, you're very welcome. Everybody, Purple Drunk Yoshi, Lynn Smith, Elaine P, Pernilla, Tudor Times, Henrietta Lure, Arwen, Prince Songs, Liz, Mick, Natural Ginger, Go Hands Girl, PDF Joe, Openly Avoidant, Early Tan, on Big B, Green Goddess, Purple Glitter. Everybody, thank you for being here. This was different, I could say. Usually I have, a video of Foodie Beauty playing, but we didn't have that. But this was very entertaining as well as educational. It's very edutainment is the word for it now. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Dr. Emily. I'm
And
gonna end the screen, but yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to encourage everyone to just give that thumbs up, because we want to make sure that Monty is, you know, his channel gets off the ground, and you're not on the ground, but that gets the attention it deserves, because I think that Monty is just a gem in the community. So, um, so please do give that thumbs up. Um, and I think that's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Colgate Smile, you're bringing up a good point about December is a bad month for people
Mm-hmm.
suffering from depression. They don't have family. Some can't afford Christmas gifts. Some feel abandoned. That's very, very, very true. There's also
Yes.
SAD comes into play this time of year as well. Seasonal affective
Affective
disorder.
disorder.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you once again, folks, for listening and joining. Hopefully, you learned something from this situation. And I will see you people later. I am actually gotta do some work today. So if Foodie Beauty comes on, I'm most likely not gonna be present. I'll try and bring my mobile setup with me. But sometimes I can't be on call 24/7 because she literally will be live 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 11 p.m., or any time during the day. She's literally on any single time. D Higgins, no worries. You can watch the replay if you'd like. Thanks for being here, D Higgins. Jaina, take care. Natural Ginger, take care. Once again, thank you, Dr. Emily. Quixie, I guess you're gonna have to watch the replay, but thank you for being here. Bye
And
bye,
thank you
folks.
for listening to my my stuff.
Exactly. All right, take care, folks. Bye bye.